friends. Sorry, I am a little bit late today, but happy Wednesday. Hopefully you're getting through your week really well. We are going to talk finances. We're going to try and do this each week. You know, a lot of us are concerned about our food supply with everything going on. The other thing to be concerned about is having currency to exchange for food. So going to try and do just a short economic outlook update each week. So Wednesday afternoons, keep free to bring your questions. If you have financial questions or anything like that, we are always going to be joined by Dr. Kirk Elliott. He is been decades in the field, particularly focused on tangible assets. And so I'm just going to go bring him in because, like I said, we're going to try and make this quick for y'all. And thanks for being here again today.
Oh my word, it's great to be with you.
Awesome. So big news. Well, I don't know if it's big news because it's been like the same news, we'll say, but I'm noticing the headlines about how the stock market's been a little bit wobbly, we'll say, nice technical term for you, because of people's expectations of the interest rate hikes to control inflation. So what is your take on that?
So wobbly is a good technical word because it is wobbly, but there's no reason why the stock market should actually go up right now. I mean, the economic news is bad. So stock prices are a function of people's perception of future expectations, right? Well, what do we have? We've got inflationary pressures, rising interest rates. You've got massive chemical blowups that's going to affect livestock, real estate prices, water supply on the Ohio River Valley, area, which is pretty much almost everything east of the Mississippi. I mean, this is bad stuff. And now you've got stuff that's coming out from Walmart this morning said consumers' expectations are not good. They're slowing down their buying because they don't know what's going to happen. Well, here's how I start to connect some of these dots, Christy. So warehouses like at Target, Costco, Sam's, Walmart, whatever, they're full. Nobody's buying anything, right? So they have all these warehouses that they have to actually sell stuff to get new stuff to come in. Where do they get their new stuff? From China, basically, right? So we've got this other problem happening right now is all these big, massive container ships coming into port with all the containers on it, full of TVs for Best Buy and everything else, right? They're stuck. They can't unload the containers because there's no place to put it, because the warehouses are still full because people aren't buying anything. So here's where this is a problem. What's on those containers? It's brand new manufactured stuff, right? Well, what has happened to prices at the wholesale level, cost of goods, like for steel, coal, iron, aluminum, copper, gold, silver, gas, diesel fuel, all of it has gone through the roof. Even agricultural commodities like corn, soybeans, like for General Mills and everything, right? They're going through the roof, upwards of 50% plus inflation per year. So once they unload those containers and they go onto the store shelves, the cost of those is going to go up a lot. For Americans to think that we've even seen the middle to the end of inflation, we've got another thing coming. Because what are these container ships now doing? Because they can't unload the stuff, go back to China, load them up with new stuff and come back. They're just sitting there. So there's a cost of storage. That cost of storage is about 11% a year. Add that to the wholesale prices, add that to what the retail prices are going to have to be, because there's a discrepancy. In the last 30 days, wholesale prices went up 0.7%. So you multiply that times 12, we're pushing 10% a year just at the wholesale, like their version, it's called the producer price index. That's not the consumer price index. That's retail, what we spend on, right? So it's not 6.4%. It's more like 10%. So our retailers like Best Buy, Target, whatever, are they just going to squeeze their margins and make less money and possibly go out of business? No, their prices are going to have to go up commensurate with wholesale prices. So inflation is going to persist. Now, we've had this battle for the last 8 or 9 months of rising interest rates to slow down inflation. And according to Biden at the State of the Union, inflation's coming down and wages are going up. Big fat lie, right? He's just big fat liar, right? But the reality is they're saying that it's been working. and they've been basically manufacturing these fake numbers that consumer price index prices are coming down, where our wallets will tell us, no, they're not. They're not. So, but they've said we can start to slow down the rate of growth of interest rates because we're winning this battle on inflation. Well, last month's numbers actually threw that in the pit where it belongs, because inflation went up at the wholesale level, inflation went up at the CPI level for retailers and for us. It's like, so what does that mean? It means that raising interest rates didn't actually slow down inflation. It just made things worse. So the next time they raise rates, which is coming up real soon, they're probably not going to raise them a quarter. They're probably going to have to raise them a half again, because inflation has reared its ugly head and it's going to get worse, right? So here's the pickle. M2 money supply, which is the amount of money that's in circulation in the banks, our checking accounts, savings accounts, it's basically diminishing. People don't have enough money to spend. So Economics 101 says, if it's like the movie Field of Dreams, if you want to actually grow the economy, build it and they will come. Print money and people will spend it. But they're pulling money out of circulation. This is a problem. But yet people say, Kirk, are you don't know what you're talking about? Because you say that inflation is just an increasing money supply. We have inflation. You're saying the money supply is decreasing. It's like, no, two different money supplies, right? So there's another money supply that doesn't hit us at the banking level. It's called MZM. That is the total amount of money that's in circulation. That would include money that they use for stimulus, that they do overseas to plunge protection team, to basically raise the debt ceiling. They stopped measuring that in December of 2021 because they didn't want people to know how much money they were actually printing. So this is why we have inflation, because that one's exploding. It's going through the roof, but the money that we have to spend is shrinking. There's no way that you can grow an economy by shrinking a money supply. That you add money to the economy to grow it. They're pulling money out, which is contraction, at a time when they're printing money that causes inflation, and they can't figure out why the economy is not working when we're raising interest rates, but inflation is still persisting. It's like, hello, people.
Are they doing that? Are they contracting that end of the money supply because they think that will combat inflation? Or what is the reason?
It's the narrative. It's the narrative that they're winning the war on inflation. However, I think it goes one step further, which is more insidious, and that they're preparing the world to get rid of paper dollars and prepare us for central bank digital currency. So they're pulling money out of the system in preparation for a digital version of it, to the tune of, over the last 3 months, they've pulled out $500 billion of money out of circulation, getting us ready for central bank digital currency. So, but that's going to have a dramatic negative impact on the economy. So how big of an impact is it having? Well, just in January alone, the bankruptcy numbers came out. And you remember back to 2008, 2009, how bad it was. It was like the worst recession we've had since the Great Depression. In 2009, bankruptcies were sky high. 2010, they were almost to that sky high level. Just in January alone of this year, we're at 90% of the bankruptcies that we saw in January of 2010. We're at 67% of where they were in 2009, the worst recession since the Great Depression. And our bankruptcies are up there. So I'm not listening to Biden when he says that the economy is robust and wages are going up and inflation's coming down, or else people wouldn't be filing for bankruptcy like there's no tomorrow. But what comes before bankruptcy? Delinquencies, late payments. So the number of late payments on mortgages has doubled over the last 12 months. The number of late payments on credit cards and auto payments is skyrocketing over the last 12 months. That's going to lead to even more bankruptcies, right? So we've got a sick economy, and what they're doing is not fixing it. It's almost like they're hurting it on purpose. I mean, it's that bad and it's that egregious where there is no really other answer. But this would fall in line with what Klaus Schwab said at the World Economic Forum, is we need a year of polycrisis. We are going to have a year of polycrisis. So because you can't usher in something new unless people say the way that we have it is so broken, you have to bring us something new. You have to fix it. You have to give us something. And this is the world that's being created right now, economically, politically, We've got wars in Russia and Ukraine. We've got China and Taiwan starting to go at it again. We've got trains derailing with massive plumes of chemical, toxic, carcinogenic stuff entering into our system. You've got factories and supply issues, for gas that are blowing up. It's like, what in the world is going on? I mean, these things just don't kind of happen randomly and coincidentally, all within the last few weeks, all at the same time. It's almost like there's economic warfare happening before a world of geopolitical war, but it's all bringing fear, right? Whether it's real or not. It brings fear into the hearts and minds of people. When people are stricken with fear, they stop investing. When people stop investing, corporate revenues come down and stock prices come down, right? Because that's all it takes is the perception of, Christy, why do you invest in Google or Apple or any company that you would ever invest in? Well, because you think that down the road, they have great management, they have great products, the economy is booming, and what I invest now is going to protect me during my retirement. If you think the opposite, if you think the economy stinks, I don't know about the management of some of these big tech companies, they seem to be evil, and their products, nobody can afford them, I'm going to stop investing, I'm going to sit on the sideline for a while. That's the perception that's in people's minds. Whether anything that we're talking about is real or not, the perception is that it's all real. And that is impacting the stock market in a negative way, but causing gold and silver, tangible assets, some things that are real, to absolutely go through the roof.
Right. And always, a good idea to have that as a hedge anyways. Do you think that all of these coincidences happening at the same time are part of the effort to push us in to the central bank digital currency?
Potentially. That would fall in line with what Klaus Schwab said. It's going to be a year of polycrisis, right? But here's the thing. Elon Musk last week said that artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, he was one of the first big investors in that technology. He said ChatGPT is the biggest threat to civilization ever. It's like, is he having buyer's remorse on something that he helped create? And why would he be having buyer's remorse? Because, shouldn't that actually lower companies' labor costs by you can just hire a computer to do something that a human could? Well, sure, but it's not going to be the same. See, our brains, Steve Wozniak, founder of Apple, along with Steve Jobs, said that the human brain is the strongest supercomputer, most powerful supercomputer in the world. And what God created us with was something else, intuition, a gut feeling, right? How many times have you made a decision in life, Christy, where it's like, it doesn't really make sense, but I have this good gut feeling about it, right? That's the one thing that humans have that computers don't. So imagine a world where the research out now shows that artificial intelligence computers will replace 20% of all the labor force globally within the next 5 years. That's 1 out of every 5 people. What are these people going to do? They're not going to have jobs. They can't find jobs. They've been replaced by computers. Those jobs are never coming back. So they're going to go to the government, say, we need unemployment insurance. We need welfare. We need Medicaid. We need this. We need to survive. And government, you have to take care of us. Well, they can't afford that. The governments can't afford to take on 20% of the world's population added to the handouts and benefits that they're already giving them. So maybe this falls in line with, and I was thinking about this morning, the story of very, very Malthusian philosophy of world population reduction. The Georgia Guidestones reduce the population by 2/3, right? They can't have all these people on benefits. So, hey, why don't we just start to reduce the population, right? How better way to do that than stuff that is going on? I'm not saying that that's happening. I'm saying that I'm trying to connect some of these dots. And when they don't make sense, there is something that will make sense, right? And you don't have 5 train wrecks in a matter of a week randomly when trains, you've gone years without a train wreck, right? It's like, good grief, what in the world? And
here's the thing. If it was that alone, and sometimes we don't hear about these incidences. So to be the devil's advocate, like, okay, so if it was just that thing, maybe there are these things happen more than we think. But when you pair that with the never before seen amount of food production centers that have randomly caught on fire, And then right after that train explosion, you had in Bedford, Ohio, Northeast Ohio, a facility that was over 100 years old, a metal production facility that explodes, and the investigators cause unknown. Yeah, I mean, it's like, come on. I mean, when you have all of these things happening at the same time, it does make you wonder: is there something bigger at play? Now, obviously, you're just looking for a conspiracy, but if we're inquisitive people, and I mean, especially journalists, should always be looking at things that are happening. And a tenet of journalism is to examine motivations. Like, could there be motivations for
Sure.
something like you're saying? So I think it's fair to at least ask the question.
Well, it's fair. The reason I asked the question, the reason I prefaced it with, I don't know if it's true or not. But
Yeah,
in the world of investing, it doesn't matter if it's true or not, because this is
right.
the perception of people. Because all of that was followed by all these goofy hot air balloons with spy cameras on them, right? It's like, what's going on, right? So people are thinking, are we at war? Are we not at war? Is this going to impact our investments? Is it not? Is there something going on with China? Is that going to impact the products that come in? Are these chemical spills going to impact our food supply, our ability to live? Is that going to impact prices? Here's the thing. It doesn't matter, Christy, if it's real or not. That's the point. The point is people's perception view it as being real, and that will impact the markets, because stock prices are a function of perception, not reality. The way that we vote a lot of times is the function of perception, not reality, right? The way that we live our lives, we perceive the things around us, and is it real or is it not? It's that perception that will cause markets to go up or down. And this is the perception that we have, that something's not right. It's this gut feeling, it's this intuition that something's not right, whether it's man-made, whether it's manipulated, whether it's meant to be, whether it was all just coincidence. The reality is we don't know. The perception is things aren't going very well. And that's going to impact the markets.
Absolutely. Well, gosh, that time went by so fast. We've already been on for 17 minutes, the higher end. So, again, we're going to try and give some economic outlook updates each week, and keep it quick as we can. There's always so much to talk about, though, so you can see why this happens. And so if people want to learn more, they can go to KirkElliottPhD.com. He's been doing this for decades and really focused on tangible assets, because the markets, as we started, are wobbly, right?
Yes. They are wobbly, to say the least. Yes.
So just make sure, you don't have to get out altogether, obviously, but make sure that you have true diversification through different asset classes. All right. Well, thank you so much for giving this a quick update, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.